Chapter 3, A Train Ride into Oblivion. The train pulled away from the ruins of Hiroshima like a ghost ship gliding out of hell. The windows were shattered, the seats torn, and the passengers, what remained of them, sat in stunned silence. Many were burned, bandaged in rags, or staring blankly at nothing, their minds caught somewhere between pain and disbelief. Tsutomu Yamaguchi sat among them, cradling his wounds. His left arm, neck, and face were badly burned. Strips of gauze clung to raw, blistered skin. The searing pain had become a constant throb, interrupted only by sudden waves of nausea. His ears still rang. Every time the train whistle sounded, it felt like his skull might crack. He was going home. Back to Nagasaki, the city of his birth, nestled between two mountain ridges, and known for its quiet harbors and Western-style churches. A place of childhood memories, family, and peace. As the train rumbled westward through the Japanese countryside, Yamaguchi didn't know that another bomb, more powerful than the first, was already being loaded into the belly of a B-29. He didn't know that Nagasaki, too, had been placed on a target list. And he had no way of knowing that, in just 3 days, he would stand once again in the path of unimaginable destruction. Back in Nagasaki. When he arrived in Nagasaki on August 8th, the city still seemed untouched by war. There were shortages, yes, air raid drills, rumors. But compared to what he had just escaped, Nagasaki felt almost serene. His wife, Hisako, could hardly believe he was alive when she saw him walk through the door. She listened in horror as he described what had happened. The flash of light, the roar, the blackened ruins, the people turned to shadows. Their infant son, Katsutoshi, stared at his father's bandages and did not recognize him. Yamaguchi collapsed into his futon that night, racked with fever and unable to eat. Radiation sickness was beginning to set in, the slow internal poisoning that would claim thousands of other survivors in the weeks to come. His hair had begun to fall out, his skin oozed. But the next morning, despite everything, he reported for work at Mitsubishi's Nagasaki office. Why he went remains a mystery. Perhaps it was duty, perhaps it was disbelief, a need to return to some version of normalcy. Or maybe it was simply confusion, trauma clouding his judgment. When he walked into the office, his supervisor looked up in surprise. Open quote, "What happened to you?" he asked, pointing to the burns and bandages. Close quote, Yamaguchi took a breath. Open quote, "A single bomb destroyed Hiroshima," he said. It wasn't firebombing, it wasn't conventional, it was something else, a new weapon. Close quote, the room fell silent, and then, as if the universe had been listening, the second flash came. The second bomb. It was 11:02 a.m. on August 9, 1945. Yamaguchi had barely finished describing the Hiroshima blast when the sky outside lit up once again. The windows shattered inward, and the room was instantly filled with dust and heat. A pressure wave tore through the building like a hurricane, knocking people to the floor. It happened again, Yamaguchi later said. The very same flash, the same roar. The second atomic bomb, this one nicknamed Fat Man, had just detonated over the Urakami Valley on the northwestern edge of Nagasaki. The bomb, fueled by plutonium rather than uranium, was more powerful than Little Boy, but its effects were slightly contained by the surrounding hills. Still, it was catastrophic. More than 70,000 people were killed, many of them instantly, others by burns, collapse, or radiation. Churches, schools, factories, and entire neighborhoods were obliterated. The Mitsubishi plant where Yamaguchi had just returned was partially destroyed, but the reinforced concrete structure had shielded him and a few others from the worst of the explosion. By some cruel twist of fate, he had survived a second atomic bomb, just 3 days after escaping the first. Why me? In the moments after the blast, Yamaguchi staggered out of the Mitsubishi building into a city once again reduced to ruin. A mushroom cloud, taller, darker than the first, loomed above the mountains. Smoke rolled over rooftops, fires spread in waves, people screamed. He raced home. Through scorched streets, past the wounded and dying, he ran. He didn't know if Hisako and their son had survived. The panic that gripped him was worse than any injury. He limped, nearly collapsed, then pushed on. When he reached the neighborhood, he saw it was damaged but not flattened. His house still stood. Inside, he found Hisako and the baby, alive. She had left the house minutes before the blast to get medicine, but a concrete tunnel along the way had shielded her from the worst of the blast wave. They had survived, all three of them. Later, Yamaguchi would sit in stunned silence and whisper, open quote, "I thought the mushroom cloud had followed me." Close quote.